Welcome to Distress to Joyful, Bailey's Way. I'm your host, Bailey Raber, here to enlighten you and the rest of the world about one of the most misunderstood mental health disorders out there, bipolar disorder. In each episode, we'll learn more about my personal journey with bipolar II disorder, how I've struggled with it, and how I've learned to overcome those struggles. Together, we'll laugh, we'll cry, and most importantly, we'll have fun. You'll leave each episode feeling hopeful and stocked full of useful information on how you can better yourself and the world around you. Hello, friends. I am happy to be back. I know I was here last week, but I don't know. I still feel like I'm back because I batched a ton of episodes before I went on my vacation to Europe. And so there was a long period of time when I was not recording. So today I've got some announcements for you guys, and then we'll move forward with the episode. And before I get into announcements, I just want to say that I do not have bullet points in front of me today. So if you're on YouTube, you can see my hands are free. I'm not looking at bullet points. I'm not winging it, but there's a lot that this episode is from the heart. And I also didn't write my announcements down and whatnot, so forgive me if I get a little off track here or there. But you know, sometimes I feel like the episodes where I kind of sway back and forth, sometimes I feel like those are the best ones because they're authentic. They are me speaking what's on my mind, what's in my heart, and it feels less scripted, even though I don't script any of this shit. You guys should know that by now. So these last couple of weeks, I have been really down. I've been feeling like shit. I had some personal things go on that I unfortunately am not ready to share on this podcast. I don't know if I ever will be, but that's okay. It is what it is. But what happened with these life issues is they got me feeling really down. And that really sucked because I got really fucking down for the first time in a very long time, so far down that I had a hard time getting back up. And what always seems to happen to me is that when I'm going through a tough situation in life, the book that I need to read appears. So there's been lots of instances where I'm going through problems with a friend, I'm going through problems with family members or whatever, or dealing with some trauma that keeps resurfacing, and a book that I had on hold at the library just becomes on hold. And a book that I had on hold at the library is all of a sudden, it's my turn and I get to go pick it up. And it's exactly what I need for that situation that I'm in. So that's not exactly what happened this time, but I did finish reading a book that I was reading for a scholarship program at my college. And I was like, okay, I am ready to pick up another book. And the book that I've had that Monish purchased for me back in January, it's been sitting on my nightstand for a very long time. The Light We Carry by Michelle Obama. So if you are on YouTube, you can see the cover. I will put a photo and a link of this in the the show notes. But guys, literally the tagline right here says, "Overcoming in Uncertain Times." So she's talking a lot about what happened through the pandemic and everything. But guys, this is a very good guide. I wouldn't say self-help book necessarily, but it's a good guide. I love Michelle Obama. If you haven't read her first book, Becoming, you need to fucking read it. I love this woman so much, and her husband. They are amazing. I'm going to tear up. They are exactly who I want me and Moni to be. Like, I want us to grow into these people, and he agrees. And so, seeing her book, I saw it at Sam's. It was like $18. I said, okay, I want this. And he was like, done. It's yours. I'm probably about a third or a fourth of the way into it, but already it has started to help lift me out of my funk and really help me to figure out, okay, I'm in a place, it sucks. So what can I do to get me out of this suck? Because when you're in suck, guys, most of the time it's all in your head. And that's what you need to do. You need to figure out how to get out of the suck. Now, I know that depression, bipolar depression, all of these things, those can weigh down, and that's a little bit different. I'm in a place with my bipolar disorder. I have managed it well enough to when I do get depressed, it doesn't last near as long as it used to. And a lot of times I can get myself out of it if I can work on reframing my mind and reframing whatever situation happened. And so, again, this was just really good timing. If you haven't read it, if you haven't read any of her books, you really need to fucking read them. She's amazing. Love her. Another fun announcement is that this month I have been really busy with custom projects. So most of you guys know that I have my Etsy shop, Bailey's Way Designs. There I sell a bunch of my handmade things that I sew and all of that stuff. But I've also been taking a lot of custom projects on, mainly for people in the Houston area, especially if it's clothing or costumes because I have to do fittings. And recently I was asked to make a prom dress for somebody, and I've never done that before. And she was actually the niece of one of my friends. So this was the referral, a friend of a friend type deal, which was so cool because I haven't had any of these yet. And this girl, she was awesome, you guys. She had exactly in mind what she wanted. She had photos. She's like, I want this of this dress, this of this dress, and this of this dress. So organized, so amazing. She's a senior in high school, very, very professional and polite, and she was so easy to work with. And I finished her prom dress this weekend, and I'm so pumped. I cannot wait to see how it turns out. I spent like 25 hours on this dress, guys, because I did a bunch of hand beading, and it's gorgeous. I sent it to my best friend, Alex, who is in fashion school with me, and she said that this dress looks like if Princess Jasmine and Princess Belle had a love child, and this is what she would wear. So if you're not following Bailey's Way Designs on Instagram, I highly recommend it because I'll be posting photos and reels and videos of this dress. I can't wait to see how she looks at prom this weekend. I'm so, so pumped. And I'm so pumped to start doing more of these because, guys, I love doing evening wear. Costumes and evening wear are my favorite things to design. And so I really hope that more people are going to get on board this year. And with homecoming and Halloween and prom and all the stuff, I'm super pumped. I'm so pumped. Very excited. If you can't tell. If you're on YouTube, you can definitely tell. You see this big ass smile on my face. Okay, so let's go ahead and dive on into today's episode. Write it out. I don't know why I just did that with my fingers on YouTube. Sorry, not sorry. So, I've got my little journal here. I'm not going to read from it, but I am going to explain the importance of journaling and writing it out in specific terms. So if you guys have been tuning in for a while, you probably have heard me say before that I used to hate journaling and that my therapist pushed it on me for years and I didn't want to do it and it sucked. And I actually have journals that date back as far as like 2015 where I would write a little bit and then I would stop for months or even years. And then I'd go back and write a little more. And it just wasn't consistent, very sporadic. And then 2020 hit with the pandemic and shit just hit the fan, as we all know. And I started to take journaling more seriously. I had time for it. I had a lot going on in my head. I needed to get it the fuck out. And the best way to get things out of your mind, if you can't verbalize them to somebody else, which is what I prefer to do. Let's be real here. If you can't do that, the other great way, or the next best thing to do, is to journal about it. And most specifically, not when I journal, but one of the big benefits I have found from journaling is to get clarity when I need to have hard conversations with other people. So boom, if you haven't guessed it, that's where we're going with this. Because it is great to sit down and journal your thoughts out every night before bed, like I do, or in the mornings, and just kind of go over the day-to-day happenings, or good things that happened, or bad things that happened, or whatever it may be. But Brene Brown introduced me to this idea of shitty first draft. So I mentioned that to my therapist the last session I was in with her, and I'm doing it a little bit different than how Brene Brown does it. My therapist made that clear to me, and I was like, oops, well, I like my way better because it works fucking great for me. So let's make up a hypothetical situation. Let's say I have this friend named Sally. I love using that name. Nobody's fucking named Sally anymore. It's great. So I have this friend named Sally, and Sally and I get into an argument. I don't know. We're arguing over something like, I don't even know, guys. Like, I don't really get in arguments with friends a lot anymore. So let's say we're arguing because we want to go do something and we can't make up a decision where. No, that's dumb. Okay, I don't even know. So Sally and I were arguing, and let's say that she's accused me of being judgmental towards her or being aggressive towards her. And I don't feel like I've been that way towards her. And now I'm upset because she's accusing me of something. I don't agree with what she's saying. I think that this is just miscommunication. Guys, 9 out of 10 times, most arguments are miscommunications. They're things people are not understanding where you're coming from, and then you get frustrated because you don't understand where they're coming from, and boom, explosions can happen. So the best thing I have found that works for me is, okay, I'm going to stop right now. I'm not going to say anything else in the moment, especially if it's through text. If it's through text, y'all, miscommunication is so easy to occur. So fucking easy. So the beauty of texting is that you do not have to reply instantly. You can just stop. You can set the phone down and say, you know what? I'm going to come back to this text message later. And Sally could be blowing up my phone. I don't fucking care. I'm not going to reply to Sally until I have cooled down and figured out what I want to say to her and how I can best say this in a way that's going to portray what I'm actually feeling, what I'm actually trying to say, whatever it may be. So, I'm done texting Sally back. I'm taking a moment. But I'm heated. I'm angry. And I don't want to respond in the moment. I don't want to respond out of emotion. I want to respond with a clear head. Well, how do I get a clear head? My journal, right here, my handy dandy journal, which you can see if you're on YouTube right now, that I have found is the best way to do this. So one of the ways that doesn't work for me is if I'm mad, if I'm really mad and I'm trying to say something and I want to come from a clear head, I can't. I cannot come from a clear head if I'm mad. And a lot of times when I'm mad, I have a lot of shitty feelings or shitty things I want to say to this person, but I actually don't want to say them to the person, right? It's what I'm feeling in the moment because my anger takes over. Guys, Enneagram 8, my go-to emotion is anger. And when I'm angry, in the past, I've burned a lot of bridges because I've said things that I really didn't mean, but I said it in the moment. And when you say something, you cannot take that back. It is done. It is out there. Even if you didn't mean it, too fucking bad. You already said it, and sometimes words can hurt so bad, you guys. Y'all, I remember some really, really, really ugly things people have said to me in the past. I haven't forgotten them. Whether or not they apologize, it doesn't matter because I still remember, and those things sometimes still hurt. And those things are sometimes still triggering to this day because I'm in therapy working on not letting these things happen, not letting these past moments trigger me, but I'm not there yet. I haven't accomplished that. So those little things I remember and they still hurt. So instead of saying these things to the person, which sometimes in the moment you feel like you wanted to, I have found that the best way to get those things out of my body so I don't accidentally say them to the person is to journal them and to do a shitty first draft. And how I do a shitty first draft is I sit down and I will title it Shitty First Draft and I'll say Sally Edition. And that's who I'm going to be talking to right there. I always date and put the time on it like I talked about in my most recent Travel Tales episode. Travel Tales number 5 and Italian Adventure Part 2. I talk about how I do that. I've done it. I still do it to this day. I date it. I write the time. I put shitty first draft, Sally edition, and I go fucking ham. And guys, when I go ham, I mean, I go ham. I say anything and everything that I'm feeling right then and right there, but I say it on paper right here with Ariel, which actually that's not real Ariel because this is not a Disney book, but obviously that's her silhouette. But I write it all down in this Ariel journal, and this is who I say it to. I say it. I say, you're a fucking cunt. I can't believe that you aren't listening to me. I can't believe that you would think that about me. Why would you assume that? Why would you accuse me of this? Yada, yada, yada. All of it goes here. All of it. And some of you listening, if you've ever been a close friend of mine, or if you are a close friend of mine, you probably have a shitty first draft in here. I'm not going to lie. And that's okay, because you've probably felt some shitty things towards me too. And I have no hard feelings about that. Guys, we're humans. Things happen, things piss us off, and people piss us off. People will disappoint you. Everybody in your life will disappoint you at least once in your lifetime. Every single person. Y'all, as much as I love my fiance Monish, he has disappointed me. He has pissed me off. And he will do it again. Because again, and again, guys, we are humans. We make mistakes. And no matter how hard we work on ourselves, we're still going to make mistakes. Nobody out there is perfect. Not you, especially not me. So I write all of these things out. I get every little mean thing that pops up that I want to say. I get it all out on paper in this journal. And then I slam it shut and I leave it alone for a while. And I don't text Sally back for a couple of days. And I try not to think about this for a little while. And I just try to immerse myself in something that's going to center me. After my shitty first draft, I will pick up a book. I'll pick up Michelle Obama's book and start reading that. I will go on a run. I'll go on a bike ride. I'll start sewing. I will pull out my sketchbook. I will do something that's going to take me away from my anger and all of the anger I was feeling towards Sally. And I'm going to go immerse myself in something that's going to make me feel good. Something that I'm going to get lost in. Something that is going to fill my cup. Because the situation with Sally didn't fill my cup. It depleted my cup. So now I need to go fill it back up. So once I fill it back up, sometimes I need a couple of days to fill it back up. Maybe I'm so depleted from this experience with Sally that I'm completely drained and I need some time. So once my cup is filled back up and I'm feeling better and I'm feeling clearer and I'm feeling more centered, then I go back to this same journal and I start writing a different message to Sally. And I will literally, guys, I will sit down with my journal and sometimes I will open those text messages from Sally and I'll see what she said and I'll write in my journal and I will say what I really want to convey to her. I will apologize for wrongdoings. I will apologize for miscommunication. I will apologize for appearing that for coming off like I meant harm or for coming off like I was being judgmental. Whatever it was, I'm always going to apologize first, guys. Because here's the thing. Even if I'm not 100% wrong, if there's an argument or there's a miscommunication, I could have done something better. I could have been more clear. I could have used nicer words. I could have done something. And so I'm going to come and I'm going to apologize for that because I am not perfect. I am not holy here. I did something wrong and they did something wrong. That is how this has occurred. Both of us, something wasn't right. Taking that first step and apologizing, y'all, seriously does wonders for relationships. And I wish I would have learned that sooner. I'll actually do a podcast here in a couple of weeks where I talk about apologies and how I've learned how to apologize, the importance of it, and what it actually means to apologize. So when I start with that, even if Sally is still mad at me a week later and I come to her and I'm like, hey, I want to talk to you about this. When I apologize first, if Sally had some walls up and she had some defenses, she's going to bring that down. And she's going to be able to be like, okay, let me listen to her. Let me see what is actually going on here. So I'm apologizing for anything that I did wrong, for upsetting her, for miscommunicating, those things. And then I'm going to move into what I was actually trying to communicate. And I'll be like, hey, Sally, I am so sorry that I came off as judgmental. I never meant to sound like that. I am the last person who would be judging of you, much less anybody else. And I'm truly sorry that that it felt that way. I'm so sorry I made you feel that way. Not I made you feel that way. Okay, sorry. We're not doing the apology lesson here, so bear with me. Then I'm going to go in and say, Sally, what I really meant was this, or what I was trying to convey was this, or whatever have you. And this is really hard because I'm just making up a situation right now. But all of this is to say that if I'm writing that down here, I'm going to get clear and I can be a lot more cognitive of what I'm saying. And sometimes I will have to write multiple paragraphs and keep going until I get it right, until it makes sense. And a lot of times, guys, when I'm done writing in here and I'm like, okay, this is what I want to say to Sally, I'm going to read it to Monish and see what he thinks, because my perspective is not going to be the same as somebody else's perspective. And it's a lot of times it's really good to get the perspective of somebody else so that you're not making the same mistakes all over again. And another thing too, guys, is this little journal. So I have made the mistake of trying to apologize to people in text. And honestly, guys, I'm not good with face-to-face confrontation. I'm not. I tend to react a lot quicker. I have a mouth, it'll fly off, and all of that. And so there's been times where I apologize and I try to recommunicate with somebody in text, but sometimes that's not enough, guys. Sometimes you need to sit down face to face or over FaceTime or even just a phone call. And when these things occur, I bring my journal with me. I have multiple times sat down with friends with my journal. Alex, if you're listening, she can attest to this because I've done that with her. I've taken my journal and I've written down the ways that I felt hurt or what I needed to express to her. And guys, honestly, every time I've done with this, every time I've done this with somebody, when I brought my journal and I'm like, hey, I want to read this to you. I took the time to write these things out and I would appreciate it if you didn't interrupt me, but if you could just hear me out and let me, express how I feel or what I want to say to you. Everybody has been completely understanding, and most people they've been impressed. They're like, wow, I'm thankful that you took the time to do that and really sit down and think about this so that we can continue our relationship, because I'm tired of burning bridges. I'm almost 30. I'm tired of it. And the people that I have in my life right now, guys, you mean so much to me and I want to keep you here. So if I need to do some work and take some time and have a time out and sit with my thoughts and come up with what I can do to do better, damn straight, I'm going to do it every fucking time. I do that with Monish a lot. Monish and I do that a lot, where I'll go and I'll sit down and I need to cool off and think of things, and he needs to cool off and think of things, and we come back together and we're like, okay, what can we do better so this doesn't happen again? How can we move forward? And this is the attitude that I have with all of the people in my life. And so let me see. I lied. I said I wasn't going to read anything out of here, but let me see if there's something in here that I can read. Not a shitty first draft. I'm not reading y'all any shitty first drafts. But let me see if there's something in here that I can read to you guys that will kind of make sense. So that you kind of understand what is going on when I write about things to people. Okay, bear with me for just a few moments. Okay, so I don't have any in here that aren't recent. Like all of these are within 2021 or more recent, and I'm not going to read any of those. So sorry, I thought I was going to have something to read you guys, but unfortunately I don't. But guys, the moral of the story is if somebody's in your life and you truly value them and you want to keep them around and you want to continue to have a relationship with them and you get into an argument or a fight or you're upset about something they did or you did something to upset them and they confronted you with that and there's some kind of tussle, tension, whatever going on, seriously, I highly recommend doing your shitty first draft, writing out all the things that you feel, whether or not they are nice, whether or not they are true. Get them all on paper. Get them out of your body. Because when they're out of your body, you have a way smaller chance of them coming out of your mouth when you are actually talking to that person. Then, when you have a clear head, come back to it and think about what you really want to say to that person and write it down. Seriously, now that is the part that Brene Brown really got me on. And I can't remember which of her books that she talked about it in, but one of her books, she wrote that she went and she was leaving her job and she was giving her boss her notice and she wanted to verbally have a conversation while handing in the notice. So she wrote down bullet points of things that she wanted to say. And these are things that she wanted to make sure that were said, which, oh, bingo, that's another reason why it's really good to write these things out and bring your notebook, bring your notes on your phone, whatever it is. Because if you have everything written down, it's a lot easier to stay on track and make sure that you say every little bit that you need to say, especially if you are setting boundaries with that person, because you don't want to miss that. If there's something important, you really don't want to miss it. And having written it all down, one, you're clear. You're making sure that you're covering all the things, that you're saying exactly what you want to say, and that you'll be able to portray it in the best way possible for that person to understand, to be there, and to be able to maybe see your side and figure out how you guys can make a solution to move forward. But also, it allows you to make sure you don't forget anything important. Because if you're having a conversation and you forget to say something that's important, or you forget to bring something up, and then a week later you remember, that person might not want to revisit the conversation, or it might not be the right time, or yada, yada, yada. There's a million different things that can occur. So, again, moral of the story, writing things out can really, really help you to hold on to those relationships that you value most, and also to figure out what's best for you, what boundaries you need, and things like that. So I hope that all of that made sense. I'm going to try to write this out in the show notes in a way that kind of is a step-by-step of what I do. Because this is what works for me. This is a little bit different than what Brene Brown does, but we all have our own methods and ways of moving through lives, solving our own problems, that kind of thing. So I really hope that tuning in has inspired you to decide, okay, maybe I should do that. Maybe I should find a way that I can get this shit out of my body and then be able to clearly communicate what I need with the people in my life. Because again, guys, learn from my mistakes. I have burned so many fucking bridges, and I don't want to do that anymore. I really don't. Like I said, the people who I have in my life right now, they are so important to me, and they mean so much to me. And if something were to occur that were to upset either side, I want to make sure I do right and find out how we can move forward in a healthy way. And I hope that you would want to do the same too. Okay, guys, so this is a segment that I created in order to spread some positivity, whether you are, showering for the first time in a week or you just accepted the job offer of your dreams. Win of the week is here for us to share joy and to celebrate all of the wins in life, because a win is a win and there's no such thing as too small of a win. And we celebrate all of them equally here on Distress the Joyful Bailey's Way. So, As you know, I do not have a paper in front of me today, so I'm going to give my win of the week. Well, I guess my win of last week, because this week it's Monday right now as I'm recording, currently Monday. And the win that I want to share with you guys is that we are having an engagement party in 2 weeks, and I'm really, really excited. It's actually less than 2 weeks now. But this engagement party, it's nothing fancy. It's not going to be, super themed out like my birthday party or like how I love to do things. But it is going to be a bunch of people that Moni and I love who live here in Houston or here in Texas. We have some friends coming from out of town. I'm really excited. And it's just a moment to get to celebrate our recent engagement with people that we love. So I'm really pumped. Again, it's casual, but it's going to be really fun. And I'm super excited about it. So yeah, that's the win. So what wins do you have that you want to share? You can send me a message on Instagram at distressedjoyful_Baileys Way. You can email me at whatishaybellsdoing@gmail.com. Or you can click the link that is in the episode description on your podcast platform that you're currently listening on or on YouTube. And you can fill out the win of the week form to submit that way as well. So I want to hear from you. I want to celebrate you. So send in your wins. So in the next episode, we are going to talk about, I'm actually going to read it from Google, my Google Drive. We're going to discuss how to be a supportive partner when bipolar disorder is in the mix. So this is going to be very interesting, guys, because we're going to come from two different perspectives. A lot of the times I just come from my perspective and what I need from my partner. But my partner needs things from me too. It's a two-way street. I can't always be telling and asking things of him. Sometimes he needs to do that also for me. And when there's bipolar disorder, that is like a third person. And that's something that we need to manage and work on together. So do not miss the next episode where I dive into all the details and the things that really have helped us grow a very strong, very healthy relationship over these last 3.5 years. And these things that will hopefully continue to strengthen our relationship as time moves forward. So again, you don't want to miss that. Be sure to tune in. Thank you for tuning into the show. If you are listening on Apple Podcasts, I would love if you would write a review and tell me what you think of the show. If you're on Spotify, you can leave a rating. I really, really want to hear from you guys. So whatever works best for you. Don't forget to hit the cute little subscribe button at the top of your listening platform so that you can stay up to date with the new episode releases. And be sure to head over to the on over to the website, whatishaybellsdoing.com, to check out the show notes from today's episode. Also, if you didn't know this, if I haven't screamed this enough in the last few episodes, I am now putting the raw video footage on YouTube. So all of my mistakes from when I recorded this episode, you're going to see my face, you're going to see the things that I hold up. You're going to see me talk with my hands like I'm doing right now, like I do all the time. And so spread the word. It's also a totally free way to listen to this podcast. So if you don't have access to Apple Podcasts or Spotify or Stitcher, don't you worry. You can get it for free on YouTube. All right. So until next time, take it easy, stay grateful, and be joyful. Bye.